It's quite a good day today, and we have a huge task. As you know, among the 6 elderly people living here, only one of them remains with us. The other 5 already deceased, so we will pay a visit to that elderly person to see how he's doing. There is a little bit sandy here today. Seems like I will have to come down this way. This is what the outdoor life looks like. It's really uneasy. And now we will pay visit to that left behind elderly person. It's about lunchtime. We are to meet the only elderly person left among the 6 well-known, long-living people here. This is the door. It's a grand door. I think the plan about flying the drone above the desert is not gonna happen. Now I will have to use my naked eye for more sights. The bushes are already very high, almost the height of a person. The drone just now flied over there, capturing the sights of a group of people gathering. So I was hurt by the failure of the drone. And we need to rethink about it. I once visited one desert, and in a desert environment, there will be some signal interruption to the drones. Actually, in such an open air environment, it's easier for the signal to get connected, but I don't know why. The bushes are very high. They almost block my sight. I hear that they will grow to about 3 meters high. Not really. It could go to almost 8 to 9 meters. That's really high. I'm looking forward. Maybe several years later, when I return, they will grow very big. Yes, 4 to 5 years ago, I may choose to take my kid here. And I will water the bushes. In Ant Forest, when we plant a tree, there will be a certificate number granted to us. I planted 3 trees in Ant Forest starting from 2019. They're all Haloxylon amondendron. In the number 354 forest area. As to Guo Yi, I've read some reports about him. And I know that he has been controlling the sand here for 3 generations with his ancestors. They have been working very hard to control the sandstorm and to encourage afforestation. Have you heard about his story? Of course, I heard about the 3 generations of the Guo's family. In our local county, they're very famous. In the program, I heard that Guo Yi is the grandson of Guo Chaoming. The one wearing the white beard is Guo Chaoming. And now it seems like they are passing the baton to the next generation, from the grandfather to the grandson now. Yes, these 3 generations have been working for the same cause, to control the sand. it's really like legend. Our viewers must be wondering, in such a tough environment, how is Mr. Guo Yi implementing the project of Ant Forest here in this county, and what have their ancestors been doing to control the storm? I've read a lot of the stories, but now I'm gonna listen to himself in person. Let's discover more. It's over there. Several people are working there. They are all the forest rangers. Look in their elderly ages. The young people are unwilling to be here, be the rangers. Maybe with the local environment, local economic development, they're more willing to return. If they stay here right now, there is very limited room for their future development. But later on, maybe when the economy grows here and this project of afforestation develops, they may be willing to serve as the rangers. It is, after all, conducive to sand control and the local environment. Now let's check the drone again. Do you want to climb up? Let's go. There are some tips to climb up such sandy hills. You have to step on certain stones. And it's really hard for our photographer, I know. I've been used to outdoor life, so even though I lost my drone, I can handle this physical job. Is Mr. Guo here? Mr. Guo Yi? Are you planting the trees? You are getting rid of the weeds. Yes, you have to take them off together. Yes. They're all dead. So every day you come here for the weed control. Do you have to water them? That is the pollen. If there is wind, they will fly everywhere. Just like the willow. They are like the dandelion in the desert. So you have to control the weed regularly. Because those weeds may take the nutrition from the growth of Haloxylon amondendron. Hi, it's nice to meet you. The drone, I know about the distance, it's about 80 meters distance, and the drone flew just now a little bit, but now there are some problems. And I see a person doing the weeding job. So that is a routine job here, yes. Weed control is a regular work. Do you need some people responsible for watering? We just started. Usually it starts from August. And it depends on the climate change. If there is rainfall, you don't need the artificial watering anymore. I take a task here, and I've heard about you. I know you've been working for this cause for several years, and ant forest could come to Gulang County. You are one of the core contributors, to be honest. So I have several questions. How about let's move on over the talk. How did you get engaged with ant forest? It is sourced back to 2018. Incidentally, the foundation came to Gulang County for a project. I know that Gulang County is a key place for sand control. Yes, because of the location, Gulang County is located right next to the severely deserted area. It's in the southern part of this project. And at that moment, Ant Forest was looking for such a project site. I read your stories and I was touched. I did my homework. I knew that you used to work in a government agency, and after graduation from college, you came back for this undertaking. And based on the internet technologies and some new entrepreneurial project, you came back to your hometown for this forest project. So, what inspired you? And when did you start? 2018? I stayed in the forest administration for 8 years after my graduation. Then I stayed in the township for several years, and then starting from 2018, I came back for this cause. So do you have to do the frontline work when you were working in the administration of forest? Never. It's mainly about management. But now since you're working the front line, you have to start from scratch with a lot of detailed plans because it's a large area with very good management. We believe that 3 to 5 years later, this place will turn out to be a big forest. Have you bumped into any challenge or difficulty? Of course I did. Since it's quite dry here, so water source is a key challenge. We were under huge pressure in the beginning. And the second difficulty is about the land occupation from the locals. We have to take over the land and repay the lease to the locals. We need a lot of coordination job. You also have to arrange some workers, so it takes a lot of manpower. That's a huge project. Mr. Guo, to build such a large area of forest, how long usually does it take? It takes about 50 days for the plantation of this entire area, including the planning to forestation. So how many people do you have to hire? 300 to 400 for the plantation. One, starting from end of March to April, we kickstart the plantation just like the rice. And you have to gather 300 to 400 people and work for 50 days. That's a huge project. Maybe the villagers have been waiting for that season to come. It's like the harvest season, and they start the laboring in those 2 months. After plantation, do they have the other work? Of course, like weed control, watering. We require the villagers to help us manage this forest. So it takes a lot of workload. The trees grow to this height. That's because of the high maintenance, the fertilizers, the weed control, the pesticide usage, and so on. This is one of the pesticides. The locals will have to put them into the earth. When did they put them in? After there is a sprout coming out from the earth, they will put down this bottle of pesticide. It's not the traditional pesticide actually. They are made of fruits in order to attract the bugs in, and then they will be trapped in this bottle. So still we have to control the pests. This area has a lot of lush trees. They are very high. And they grow very high. I think it's quite a success. In addition to this area, do you have the other projects? Yes, I do. This area is your first pilot project. Yes. What is the overall plantation area? It's about 40,000 mu. You have grown 111 trees in one place, so totaling about 4 million trees. As you know, we can save energy and reduce emissions through planting a tree on Ant Forest APP. We could accumulate the scores by walking and other energy-saving lifestyles, and then we can plant a real tree here. So many viewers are asking, are the trees really planted here? Because they get a certificate number. So I am now to check in person. I do see a lot of real trees here, so I am encouraged. And in the backstage of Ant Forest, what does it work? For example, when a netizen accumulates enough scores and they plant a tree, and that tree will be certified with a number and they will be granted to one specific location. For example, I have my tree planted in number 354 section. And every year you have a cap about the plantation area and the number of trees to be granted to the netizens. Yes. If we have 1 million target, the netizens will only get as much as 1 million trees in total, but we will continue the maintenance work after we have sent out all the quota. Mr. Guo takes his team for the management and maintenance of the entire area. So 3 to 5 years later, this place will turn out to be a lush forest. And many netizens have started their participation in this non-profit project since 2016 on forest. They're interested in watering the trees on their APP. So now let's take our viewers to have a closer look at the practical jobs done by the locals. I know that my tree is planted in this place, but they have not grown to a very big tree yet. I was planning to water my tree before I come. Maybe I will come back several years later. He's weeding because those weeds will take away the nutrition from the trees. We seldomly do the weeding control previously, but we do right now because this job is related to poverty alleviation and we need some economic effects from this project. Our netizens have heard about the TCM value of haloxylon. We collected the seeds of the tree because they also have some medical value. So it keeps growing here after we collect the seeds. The seeds will create economic value for us. And the medical value comes from the root. Do you have to distill it? So does it have to go through processing every year you just take it out for direct usage? Some enterprises are doing the processing work. we can directly cut it off into several slices and make it into a soup. After flowering, it will grow some fruits. And it's very big, the fruits. Some could be as heavy as 20 jin in weight. It's bigger than ginseng, and you could burn them into soup. And we are doing the weed control in order to ensure the growth of such a root because of its economic value. Because it needs to keep growing with the seeds left behind. Mr. Guo, you mentioned that in terms of the ecology here, Ant Forest is helping with afforestation and non-profit endeavor, for example, by creating job opportunities for local villagers. It's a grand job, and according to my knowledge, in 2020, Gulang County has been lifted out of poverty. In August this year, yes. You have created 1,200 job opportunities for the locals. Every year, you will invite the surrounding villagers here for a celebration. Do you have a regular event, or do you have to go through a screening process for the villagers selected here for this job? For example, those two, we hire them with a contract, and they come for work here throughout the whole year. If we need 100 villagers tomorrow, those two people will be responsible for the hiring process. They screen the villagers, and the villagers will go directly to them for volunteering work. You have some connection with the local enterprises? Yes, they wait for the forestation here because they have a benign correlation with this forest area. In the future, there will be more people joining this cause. Now, mainly it's the elderly people doing the toiling work on the land, but in the future, with this project to develops, more maybe college graduates will be willing to return back to their hometown for this cause, after they heard about the values you create for the local villagers. Do you have some specialties? There are a lot of specialties in Gulang County. For example, the wolfberries. So you grow wolfberries? Yes, we do. Yes, because it's desert proof. So do you have some coordination with some brands? Yes, we do the production and they buy from us. Yes, now e-commerce is a good platform for your sales. And with that platform, you help the local villagers for the sales. So today, we hope that with our live show, our netizens could support your undertaking with the introduction about your pilot project and your contribution to local villagers. In the future, Mr. Guo will go beyond just one project from Ant Forest. You may do more to the ecological development. And since our viewers have read about your reports, you know that 3 generations of your family have been doing the same thing for sand control, starting from your grandfather to your father, and now it's you getting the baton. So we are wondering that your grandfather used to put down his fingerprint as a stamp for this cause. And I do want to hear in person about your feeling as one member of this family. Can you share more with us about your family stories? My grandfather started with plantation of trees. They want to simply protect the arable land to avoid the sand damage. His initial mission was to protect arable land because they planted the trees in an area right next to the arable land. That's his initial aspiration. And gradually, he takes afforestation as his own job. And he realizes that after this one piece of arable land, there are more land areas for him to protect. And then he passes on this glorious job to your father. Time after time, it's a spirit passing on. I was touched. I heard that on March the 12th, your son was born, and that date was right the date of afforestation. So you do a lot of job for environment protection. In such a dry environment, we need a continuous job. This undertaking cannot be accomplished with an impulsion. So do you have any plan for your son? Do you want him to take over your responsibility? If he wants to, of course I support him, because I may have influenced him gradually, bit by bit. I met Guo Chaomi, your grandfather, enjoying the sunbath next to the pond. In the program. And does he have to do the job himself, like fetching the water? Yes, we have a carriage here. So they have to do a lot of footwork. They will have to walk to do a lot of the manual job. Did it take you when he works? I was very young, so whenever he come back home, he was sunburned. What about your father? My father started afforestation very early on. He started since 1981 till now. So did he have better conditions than his father, who is your grandfather? So water source is a key problem even for my father before 1998. Mainly the trees planted here are Haloxylon amodendron. What about before? We grew a lot of varieties, for example, Sculparium. And the environment was even tougher than now. Water is another challenge. And we have to do the weed control a lot. The samplings cannot be transported here on a large scale. Previously, we have to do all of those work manually. Sometimes we have to dig out the trees planted in our yards to grow them elsewhere in the desert. Yes, indeed, it's quite a challenge. We rely on the manual work of our locals. So the local villagers will have to carry them and plant them and maintain them until the trees grow big. It's just like raising a kid. Sometimes we fail. We have to explore new ways of plantation. So now, after years of exploration, we believe that Haloxylon amodendron is the most suitable variety to be planted here, right? Because Haloxylon is one of the varieties with the highest survival ratio. So we scaled up the plantation of that variety. And of course, Haloxylon has other values. For example, the economic value, as I introduced. It will trigger local economy. So, Mr. Guo, do you plan to expand this forestation area? Now your major job is to maintain and manage this area. Do you want to develop the other pieces of land? You may have to discover new destination and handle the water supply problem. Yes, it's really a tough job. It seems like just a simple job of plantation, but actually it's about the overall ecological protection, and it requires generations of efforts. So you have to encourage more youngsters to participate, maybe through the internet technology. You will have to create such a sustainable ecological chain, and it's really a powerful cause. Where do the local villagers live? It's within your site. It's in the southern part. Over there, that's the desert. And here, this is the Haloxylon amodendron. And over there, that's the settlement of the villagers. They have good living environment right now. Do they plant anything in their neighborhood? And what usually do they have for food? The local villagers have some of them go into the urban areas as migrant workers. Some of them will join the industrial cooperative locally for like animal keeping or the orchids. They may be raising the sheep and the cow. When I was passing by, I saw some of the houses for animal keeping. So such industries will meet the requirements of the local villagers. And of course, such an industry require specific temperature and humidity. And the local villagers have their own ways of supporting themselves. Initially, I wonder what are they eating? Do they have to go far for shopping? Now I see that they have their own way out. What's over there? That's a water reservoir. Is it artificially built? Yes. So your selection of a forestation site will first and foremost consider the water source. Yes, we choose this site right next to the water reservoir. But still, we have to fetch the water from a distance with a big vehicle. Wow. In the Gulang County, how many of the sites have been planted already? I heard that you occupy 1/3 of the entire desert here. Now the total area is about 700,000 mu left for us to be planted. So that's your job in the future. As you said, over there, that's the vast desert. Yesterday, when we were on our way, I saw the plaza in the county center. And there are a lot of people dancing on the plaza, or they're playing Tai Chi. The elderly people seem to be very happy. Mr. Chen saw it. They live happily here. That's really a surprise to us. Firstly, we thought that in such a dry place, people may not favor coming out. It's easily to get sunburned. I saw some of the villagers wearing something, the facial masks, to protect themselves. And the local villagers are happy, and they're quite simple. That's the local customs and the local spirit. In the future, we want to encourage more people to come here to have a better understanding. They may be willing to plant trees together with Mr. Guo, and we will help the local villagers for their specialty sales. Mr. Chen told us that the water will not be needed for watering today. We brought 40 such water bottles here, designed for watering the plants. I do have to highlight that we have to protect the water source here in such a desert. When I am talking here for about half an hour, my throat is sour, so that's how dry this place is. And Mr. Guo, you must be working very hard. He's still working for the weed control. It's actually comfortable here. It's not that hot. I could feel the breeze. When does the winter starts here? There is no sharp difference of the 4 seasons. The snow comes since mid-October. So will the trees be able to fight against the snow? It's no big deal for the trees, and they don't need watering with the snowfalls. And of course, since the winter comes, the leaves of the trees will fall off. So this is the leaves. Yes. It's really a miracle. Can we talk with the villager? Of course, let's go. Let's see. Have their lives been changed with this ant forest project? I cannot understand their languages, local dialect, but they seem to be able to understand me. Be careful your feet. Hi there. Do you usually work under the sun? Yes, for the weed control. Do you live nearby? Yes. How long does it take for you to come here? And how long have you been staying here? I've been working here for 1 year. Do you think it's a hard job? Not really. And you're enjoying this job. What did you do beforehand? I migrate to the urban areas. So why did you come back? Through introduction, and you have been working here for 1 year. What about your family members? They're staying nearby. How old is your children? 6-year-old, my grandson. So he is already in school, yes. So every year you will have to work around here. My number 354 tree relies on the work of people like him. So what about your wife? What does she do? She is taking care of my grandson, and he is doing the money-making job. When you shop, do you have to drive? It's after all quite a distance to the downtown area. No, I will go to the nearby shops 1 kilometer away. How about the vegetables? We plant the vegetables and we also raise animals for meat. That's really ecological. Since you just come back from urban area, is there any change in your salary? Of course. Do you earn more here? Yes, I earn more than before. So you're really a good example of poverty alleviation of this project. Now I have very stable income and I can accompany my family members more. So your wife must be very happy. You don't have to go out and you can accompany the kid. Of course. Do you feel tired under the sun? No, I am used to it. And you don't need to wear a hat for the sunscreen. No, I don't need it. It's a good season. In the future, maybe more youngsters may prefer coming back for this job, but now I heard that most of the youngsters are working out. Yes, the majority of them are out there. So I see that the Unforest project helps people like you to solve the employment issue. You can walk here for 1 kilometer. And I do encourage our viewers to pay more attention to this project, and I hope more youngsters working out in the urban area can join this cause. So what about your lunch? I return home. It's very short distance, just 1 kilometer. And when do you get off work? Every day I work for about a dozen of hours. It depends on my timetable. So if I have some time, I will come here. Wonderful. Sorry, excuse me, and I will take a sip of water. You don't take a water bottle with you. I do, and we need water. Is your kid studying nearby? No, we don't have to go to the county for schooling. Since now you just came back, do you feel changes in your hometown? Yes, I do. Previously, this must used to be a desert. Yes, you're right. The vast area over there used to be desert, and your living conditions have been improved. And I see people dancing in the plaza in the county. They seem very happy. Do you like drinking alcohol? Not for me, because we need to work. It depends. It's really a tough job. The saplings rely on you guys, including mine. So thank you for your time. My throat is painful. If I am left here for 1 week, I cannot endure it. So I think it's really a great work for the locals. Professor Chen, do you have any more questions to Mr. Guo? I've been talking and talking and my throat is sour. I do admire you. I cannot stay here for about 1 week. Do you have girls doing this job? No. And girls cannot do such tough jobs under the sun. If the girls grow tanned, they may want to leave. I scanned the photos taken by Mr. Chen about before and after planting a tree. It's a totally different environment. So this is about the end of this outdoor show. I look forward to the development of this local area with the support of Mr. Guo, and I do hope that with the technology like live broadcasting, we can mobilize more resources and more people. If you need us, please let us know. We will do what we can to help selling your specialties and encourage more people joining you.
大家在视频中看到的咱们蚂蚁森林的整片面积，包括目前现状的这个腐烂线呢，其实跟很多年前是完全不一样的。可想而知，这个咱们工作人员要把蚂蚁森林的整个项目落地下来，经过了一个非常漫长的过程。我刚刚有看到网友啊在后台留言，有问到很多问题。 其中呢有说到就是主要是关于咱们这个沙漠，包括这个古兰县的一些现状啊，大家都觉得这里肯定非常晒吧，肯定很缺水吧。那具体是关于
Now let's get back to the live showroom. I read a lot of comments from our viewers. They are saying that this place must have a lot of sunlight and they are in need of water. I have to say that the rainfall is less than 200 millimeters, and throughout the whole year, the sunlight is very strong. It's also very sandy. One comment is saying that we see a lot of trees and we know how hard it is to plant trees in the desert. We should have thumbs up to those rangers. From watering to plantation, they have very stringent requirements. It requires a good plan. As you see, the high Haloxylon amodendron grow to this big with a long time of efforts. Some comments say that we need to accumulate more energy balls so that there will be more trees to be planted. As you know, ant forests have a lot of activities for you to accumulate energy balls in order to plant a real tree. And one question from our viewers is, do you get lost walking there? Yes, for me, I get lost easily. And some say that you need to wear some protective clothes to avoid the pests or mosquitoes. No mosquitoes for me, as far as I know, but there are some small bugs. If it is raining, they will not come out, but if it's a sunny day, the bugs will all come out. So you have to wear long trousers to avoid the sunburning. And another question is whether the Haloxylon amodendron could have some economic value. As we introduced, Haloxylon is the most suitable variety for the desert. It can tolerate the drought and the sunlight. So under the Haloxylon, there will be a TCM growing here. It's called 肉松龙. It's a very good TCM. You may have known about it when you're taking the medicine. It grows in the root part of Haloxylon amodendron, and after years, the TCM will be distilled from the root of Haloxylon, and Mr. Guo and his team, after planting Haloxylon amodendron, they will take out the root and give more value to that TCM, and that will help create more economic value for the locals. After watching the live broadcasting outdoor, you realize that my throat got sour from the talking, so it's really a tough environment. And you could imagine how many rangers have been contributing. In Gulang County, it's a very key point for scent control, and it takes 3 generations' efforts to improve the environment to today. The rangers have sacrificed a lot for today's achievement. We hope that with today's live broadcasting, you will get more idea about Gulang County. Many years ago, this place used to be sandy and deserted. We have a short video. Excuse me? Before we go to the video, I will invite Mr. Chen to our showroom because Mr. Chen has always been working for this project. He has years of experience and stories to share with us. So, Mr. Chen, please say hello to our viewers. Welcome, Mr. Chen. Please take your seat. When we were out, we have communicated a lot. Is this your first time for a live show? Yes. Since Mr. Chen has been working in the desert year-round for plantation, and Mr. Chen showed me the pictures comparison for before and after. And he himself looks different in the 2 photos. He used to be very white and very young before doing this course. And such a job is very tough. Mr. Chen offered me a lot of knowledge about the process of plantation of Haloxylon amodendron, and Gulang County used to be totally different. We have long time of sandy days. I don't know about before 1949, but according to what I heard, every spring we have several sandstorms. We didn't know about the word of sandstorm. We know that they are black, so we call it black sand. In 1993, we were hit the hardest by the sandstorm. I remember the date was May the 15th. I was still young, so I don't remember it. But I heard that in our county, because of that sandstorm, 23 villagers died from it. Where did the sandstorm come? The sandstorm came to our village, and some of the local villagers were blown into the wells, including 18 kids. It's like a disaster movie. I cannot imagine. Years ago, when we didn't start with the afforestation project, how severe was the sand problem? Every day, the villagers must be fighting against God. They must be very scared. When the sand hit your face hurts, and your skin grows tough. Yes, I see the local villagers. Do they have some protective measures? I don't think so. They expose themselves under the sun. So the previous generation had hard days. And we learn about a legend about the 6 elderly people doing the contribution for the forest plantation in Gulang County. Yes, they started this undertaking since 1981. When I was in my primary school, my teacher shared with us about their spirit. From 1981 till now, it's already 39 years. And they passed on the spirit for 3 generations. Firstly, we have 6 elderly people, and then there are 6 brothers, and now it's the 3rd generation, the grandsons. So it's a strong power. Since you're a local in Gulang County, and as we know, Mr. Chen returns to Gulang County after college graduation so as to fight for his hometown. The project of Ant Forest has Mr. Chen as one of the original team members, and in Gulang County they have achieved a lot. People like Mr. Guo and Mr. Chen are admirable. To support this project, it takes a long time. It doesn't happen overnight. So sustainable efforts are required. It's beyond our imagination. How much work have you done? Many locals cannot make it today, and so we will watch a short video about the previous environment in Gulang County, since people like us may not be able to make it to Gulang County themselves. So now let's enjoy the short video to see what did it look like. In the Tangri Desert, it is vast and borderless. The environment is merciless, and the arable lands have been eroded. The sandstorm will move southernward every year by about 1.5 meters. This is the Tangri Desert before. That's the reality on this land. Controlling the sand to rejuvenate the local environment is another grand cause for the locals. Tumen Dajing and Hastan have invited 200 employees to control the sand with customized measures. They take a pilot project with the biology measures dominating the plan. They're doing the plantation and controlling the sand simultaneously. They go section by section and start from the easy area to the distant areas. After 20 years, they have created about 150,000 mu of forest. And they have irrigated 700 mu. They have also controlled the weed for 80,000 mu. In 20 years' time, they have toiled and worked hard to build such a corridor starting from Baibanshan and Bangbaocheng. That is about 500 to 700 meters long for set control belt. Some of the arable lands used to be buried by the sands. They have conquered the sands. It relies on the plantation of trees to prevent the sand. The locals accumulated such a practical measure with the lowest investment and quick return. So in dozens of years, with the spirit of planting one tree after another, they are getting out about a lot of weeds to protect the hills. That is the local spirit and local mission. With their own hands, they get out the trees that used to be buried by the sands. Year after year and day after day, those people working in the front line are now getting rooted in Babusha. This place requires the locals to run for one day to fetch water, but in such a tough environment, those people working in the front line from 1970s till now, they have protected 30,000 mu land, contributing to 73% of the total area turning green in Babusha. The afforestation area is already 200,000 mu, taking up about 8.5% of the total desert area.
央视三农的网友朋友们，大家好，我是演员刘志阳，能够在电视剧《最美的青春》中饰演塞罕坝第一代造林人冯程，我感到非常荣幸。
我发过誓，要是种不活树，我就不下马。
Dear viewers from CCTV, I am Liu Zhiyang. I serve as the first generation ranger in my TV series. When I was shooting the movie, we experienced high temperature and the cold wind and other severe conditions. And those are the daily experience of the rangers. I am also an actress, He Yuhong, in the TV series The Best Years for Youngsters. I serve as Qin Xuemei, one of the first generation rangers.
我在最美的青春饰演塞罕坝第一代种树人赵天山，赵大队长。
队长归队长。
Dear viewers, I am actor Jia Hongwei. In the TV series, I serve as the first generation ranger Zhao Tianshan, Captain Zhao.
最美的青春对我来说是一部绿色偶像剧。这些造林人，他们把最珍贵的青春都奉献给了治沙造林事业，是他们 让荒漠生长。
That TV series is like a green TV series. Those rangers have contributed their youngest years to the cause of sand control and deforestation. They turn this desert green. They are the real idols, and on them, they have the power to touch people.
张老师，我其实也是第一次看到这个，就我想象过沙漠是怎么样一个恶劣的状况，但是我真的没有想象到像咱们那个宣传片里面，因为我有问到张老师说这个宣传片。
This is my first time to watch this video, Mr. Chen. I have imagined how tough the environment used to be, but I never thought about this.
好了，现在又回到我们直播间了。陈老师，其实我也是第一次看到这个宣传片，我刚刚真的有点热泪盈眶，因为刚刚咱们看到那个应该是9集。
Now we come back to the showroom. As I said, this is my first time to watch the video. I was touched, and the tears rolled to my eyes. That was the reality in the 1990s. It's beyond our imagination. I know this place used to be sandy through many disaster movies, but I never thought that in such an environment, a group of the locals have been using their hands to dig into the earth for plantation. And also in the short video, we see the carriages used to fetch water and saplings. Now, the forest we just saw have been the result of those generations with their own hands. But gradually, we see the well-planned land area. They use their hands to dig out the weeds, and the 6 elderly people accumulated that experience with their own practices. They grew the trees like haloxylon. What about water? They used a donkey carriage to fetch the water next to the desert, because the donkey cannot enter into the desert area, so they use their own hands to fetch the water. And also as to the water problem, they rely on the weather condition, like rainfall. If there is plenty of rainfall, the water will not be that severe a problem. The TV series called The Best Young Years restore the process of afforestation and sand control in reality. They come from reality. I want to thank our actors and actresses. They have called upon afforestation for even today's live show. With our efforts, we hope to mobilize more people to join this project. And environment protection and low carbon behavior will be disseminated. And now, we will have the second round of lottery. If you weren't with us just now, let's show you the specialty. This is the local specialty, the wolfberry.